continue our discussion on the impeachment case of Vice President Sara Duterte. Joining us today is Attorney Lorna Kapunan. Attorney Kapunan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Karen, to you and to your many viewers and listeners. Magandang umaga.
All right. What would you like to explain to the public regarding, I guess, perceptions or wrong information on the impeachment?
Well, first of all, what's different with this year's impeachment and the previous impeachment of Chief Justice Corona and Mercedita Gutierrez, no, is the role of social media. And because of that, the narratives have distorted facts, have distorted evidence, have distorted the truth. And as we know, social media is a function of resources. And at the moment, the noise, the loud noise, is from the camp of the vice president. Makes you wonder who is funding all of this loud noise, which quiets the narrative on what's really happening in the House in terms of evidence, in terms of public documents, which really have the presumption of regularity. Trolls are even saying, questioning now, because we lawyers say if you're weak on the facts, focus on the person. If you're weak on the person, focus on the judges. And that seems to be in the strategy. They're weak on the facts, so now they're focusing on the integrity of the House members, spreading the narrative that they were forced to vote or coerced to vote because they would be denied district funds or whatever compensation there is now in terms of their own district. So there is distortion of narrative.
But trolling is not new. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Trolling started during 2015, during the campaign season. And when former President Duterte won, farm trolling became a business, right? And to a degree, social media also it also played a big role in changing the narrative of why President Marcos Jr. won. So the social media is not new. I mean, trolling exists regardless of who is in power in the last 10 years, I would say. So there are also, some would say, pink trolls, there are red trolls, and there are Duterte trolls. So each and every camp has some form of social media army.
That's correct. That's correct, Karen. But what's different as well now, and if I may add, is an awakening of the public, whether for or against the vice president, for or against the House, for or against an impeachment. There is a genuine, authentic awakening of the public. And therefore, the civic duty of media, whether it be mainstream media or social media or trolls, is an accountability to the public, because you cannot fool 110 million people all the time. Maybe some people all the time, but not all people all the time. And that's where we in the legal circles speak up. That's where you have a program like this, Karen, to ferret out the truth. And therefore, the corresponding duty is there, because it's a constitutional right. It's a constitutional right to be informed and to speak. They will say, freedom of speech yan, freedom of association, freedom of expression. But the freedom, your freedoms, are also guided by the Constitution, which says that they cannot trample on the truth, they cannot trample on other people's rights. And therefore, the duty, even if there were troll armies before, I guess the burden now is for seekers of truth to step up and be counted.
And I think personally, after seeing this for 10 years, it's high time that there should be more regulation. When you think of it on our social media platforms, you know, at the end of the day, government has allowed this to flourish. Other countries have already, they've already forged strict laws not to allow troll farms, not to allow fake accounts. But you have politicians actually milking this dry for their own benefit.
That is so true, no? The problem with us is when we see a problem, we create laws. Laws are not the problem. All the laws are there. We have the cybercrime law. We have the electronic media law. We have all cyberbullying law. We have safe space law. There are many laws there. The problem again is implementation. The problem is political will. Uh, in the separation of powers, that belongs to the executive branch. And the ultimate arbiter is really the Supreme Court. Some people confuse that. Instead of going through the process, for instance, the defense team, instead of going through the process in the House, they go straight to the Supreme Court.
Mm.
And therefore, we have a question here of execution. Why is there a failure of execution? First, it's a function of resources. If you study the budget, how much is there for the Department of Justice? How
Mm-mm.
much budget is there for the NBI, which
Mm-mm.
is in charge of bullying and cyber crimes? And I'm not only talking about the impeachment. I'm
Mm.
talking about exploitation of women and children. I'm talking
Yeah, okay.
scam. I'm talking
Bao.
about all of these things.
Pero balikan natin ang impeachment, no,
Yes.
Attorney Kapunan. So, it is the first time that we've had proceedings using the House Justice Committee. It is the first. Can you explain it in the clearest, most layman way from the House Committee to the Senate?
Okay. Starting with initiation. Remember, when you talk about impeachment, you talk about two stages. You talk about initiation, and then a second stage where you talk about trial. Initiation of impeachment case belongs exclusively to the House. The trial of impeachment case belongs exclusively to the Senate. They cannot cross. They cannot cross. The House cannot be a trial court. And so it's very clear from the way the House Committee on Justice have acted that Chairman Luistro, who is also a lawyer, has been quick to say bawal ang cross-examination, bawal ang probing, because it is only the function is clarificatory. The way a preliminary investigation would work, which is to clarify, not to add to the evidence, but to clarify what has been submitted in terms of testimony and in terms of documents.
Mm.
So tapos na yan, ano? 3 modes yan, either initiated by a citizen with the endorsement of a member of Congress. That's the first mode. The second mode is a congressman or House of Representatives member himself. And the third is what happened last year, was directly 1/3. Kanya hindi yan dumaan. That's why it did not pass the Committee on Justice. And that's why the Supreme Court ruled in the Duterte case that it should have gone through the Committee on Justice, not appreciating that the House last year adopted the direct mode of 1/3 or more than 1/3 vote. Now on Monday, today, the House Committee on Justice will have to go to the process of approving the committee report and approving the articles of incorporation. So committee level, it still is at the committee level. There are 53 who voted for finding of probable cause. Again, trolls armies were at work overtime at work over the weekend, saying many have withdrawn their support for the committee report. Those
Mhm.
again are the troll armies. If it passes the Committee on Justice, Karen, it will now be given to the plenary where it is calendared and
Mhm.
where it will be argued. Both the committee report will be subject to clarificatory questions from the House plenary. The articles of impeachment will be studied. And if it gets approved by 1/3 vote, and 1/3 vote is 106, 106 because there appears to be 308 members of the House. If it is approved, it is immediately transmitted to the Senate. And the Senate President has said he will accept it. And the very next day, he will create a Senate impeachment court. What does that mean? That means that the senators will now use the hat of impeachment judges, which is separate from their function as legislators. That's why they take a separate oath. No? When you take your oath of office as a public official, you have a specific oath. The same oath that the vice president took, no? Loyal to
Okay.
the Constitution. But dito, in the oath, it is important to note, Karen, that in the oath of the Senate judges, they take an oath of impartial justice.
Mm,
And the Senate rules also mentions political neutrality.
mm.
So the senator judges will be judged by that very high standard.
Okay, attorney, I want to ask you quickly. So the camp of the vice president has accused double standard, an alleged double standard by the House Justice Committee in its proceedings compared to that when they heard President Marcos Jr.'s complaint, and also the no ultimate facts. Do you agree first that there were no ultimate facts in the allegations?
Let us go first to double standard, no? Because we lawyers only use one standard, no? What is compliant with the law and the procedures? And I have read the impeachment complaint against the president, there were no ultimate facts, just opinion. In fact, they were not based on authentic, because when the rules on impeachment of the House requires authentic records and personal knowledge. The complaints against the president, the impeachment, failed in both. There was no witness with personal knowledge, and there were no authentic records attached. For instance, his bias in spending the budget. There was no testimony or document. His being a drug addict. There was no doctor's report. All of them are not based, and in fact, they got from media, and even the media sources, unlike the media sources in the House, were not authenticated by anyone.
Mm.
So there
So
is
what
double
makes
standard.
this different?
What makes the House, what makes the third and fourth impeachment complaint, which survived? Remember, the first and second did not pass the 1 year ban rule. No, it was filed even before the 1 year ban lapsed. Yeah? What makes this different is it's very evident. The ultimate facts are there. The defense is saying there is no evidence, but there is a difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. And it is, in fact, it is the defense team that should know the difference, because now they're saying we will present our evidence. We will not say anything in the House because we have evidence. That means they know the difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. And the ultimate facts are clearly expressed in both Sabalio complaint and the other complaint. No? So not only are there ultimate facts based on personal knowledge, which is the first standard, there are authentic records and authenticated records from government agencies. That is the difference between the BBM complaint and the VP Sara impeachment complaint.
Among the accusations presented in the House Justice Committee, allegations from confidential funds to former Senator Trillanes's accusations of a joint bank account, non-declaration of these accounts to the SALN, etc., video threatening the life of the president. What for you is the strongest and most impeachable of all?
I think if I were to summarize the 6 or 7 impeachment grounds stated in the impeachment complaints, I would collapse them into 4. Into 4. The issue on confidential funds, the issue on the SALNs, the issue on bribery, and the issue on assassination and grave threats. To me, the two most glaring and the two most undeniable and controvertible ground would be the SALNs. Because these were produced by the Anti-Money Laundering Council based on bank reports. So these are not opinions. These are bank records, and figures don't lie, records don't lie, and they are authenticated through the years. The reason I'm saying although confidential funds is also strong, they could produce, they can wiggle themselves out of it. First, they will define what is confidential funds. No? It is the nature of the beast. Then the name Mary Grace Piato is the nature of the beast. Aliases are allowed. They will argue that. They will say that these funds were really spent. Or they would produce
So
it.
aliases are allowed.
Yes, aliases are allowed for confidential funds.
Mhm.
But there is a difference between confidential funds for security. No? Kasi there is a circular of the COA clearly defining what is confidential funds, because the DepEd is not an agency authorized to use confidential funds. It was a concession to the Vice President. But in any event, even if you do use confidential funds, let's say the Office of the Vice President, or concurrently when she was DepEd, you are required, after you get the information, you are required to give it to the appropriate government agency to
Mm-mm.
implement. If they say it's bullying in schools and they have evidence on who are the bulliers, or those who do not follow a zero bullying policy, then they report it to the NBI. They are not the implementing agency. Have there been reports to the NBI? Have there been reports to the National Police on all of this confidential information? So even just, never mind the amounts involved. They will say, maliit lang naman yan, 500 million lang naman yan, and 500 million for the Office of the President, and 112 million for the DepEd. No? They're saying these are small amounts compared to what the congressmen have stolen from the flood control.
Oo.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the amount. No, if I may add, no, a recent case, and this is very striking. A recent case just decided February of last year involved imprisonment of 11 years of a public principal who stole 5,000 pesos.
Mm.
So why is 5,000 pesos compared to the billion, 6.7 billion? It
Mm.
establishes the principle, if you're in a public office, whether elected or appointed, or even if career, this relates to 28 cement bags lang. And he convicted for 11 years. That underscores why public funds should be accounted for. And there is a procedure for accounting. Never mind the amount. Even the procedure was not followed. The other one, to your point, the other one that's also very strong is the grave threats and the hiring of an assassin. And I understand it is so strong that NBI itself is now investigating on the possibility of filing sedition charges.
Mm. All right. Now, I think with the last one, the video has been confirmed. It was not edited. It's been a year. The NBI is still, they have leads on a suspect. But what if the defense argues that, and I'm rephrasing this, as the vice president had said, it was hypothetical in nature. Kumbaga, she did not order actively, right? The reason she had used as if mamatay ako, meaning if I am dead, then you do that. So I want you just to close this.
Yes.
What is your response to that?
Well, two things. First of all, she did say it in her own press conference, no, which she videoed herself. If that were not true, let's say that was part of the moment because her chief of staff was being detained in the house. The very next day, she repeated it. She repeated it the very next day and said, I have hired an assassin. And he has said, yes. The day before, she said, no joke, no joke. If it were a joke, the next day she would have
Mm.
denied that it was a joke. No,
Yeah.
the very next day she said, that threat, how can you have a threat from the grave? There is no such thing as a threat from the grave. The crime is threat, whether it is, there is no such thing as conditional threat. The glaring example here, and we heard the wife of Congressman, then Governor Degamo,
Mm.
the wife is a congressman. She said, my husband was threatened and he didn't take it seriously. And now he's dead. And she
Mm.
said it very sadly in the Committee on Justice hearing. It was her husband's birthday. So
Mm.
a threat is a
It's
threat.
a threat.
There's no
Oo.
such thing as a conditional threat.
Okay. And I think just to close, to clear it to the viewers, our impeachment processes are actually, even the Constitution and our laws, most of it were patterned after the United States, is a threat to the president. Could you consider that impeachable?
Yes, it is impeachable. First, you are a public official, even a private individual. Remember, there was an incident where a private individual
Was arrested.
was arrested simply because uttered na wanted a threat against the president. Whether a private or public individual, that is public official, impeachable public officials. That already, because if it does not go into a violation, well, everything is a violation of the Constitution, but it goes to her fitness. It is a
Mm.
betrayal of public trust. When
Mm.
you even say, and to add to that, to say that you are the designated survivor, to say that there is no number one position, there's only a number two position, to say that she wanted to cut off the head of the president, to say that she will dig up the grave of the father and throw it to the West Philippine Sea. All of this taken together should already convince even the ordinary Juan de la Cruz to say, is she the next president of the Republic? She needs to go through a psychiatric investigation. In fact, NBI, in the hearing, the Committee on Justice said she was supposed to. Twice she did not show up because my psychiatric division. In
Mm.
fact, this was to give her the benefit of the doubt, to see if it was just a
Mm.
burst or really a hyperbole or hypothetical. NBI scheduled 2 psychiatric hearings with her. The first one, she refused to appear. She said she was doing her duties. We don't even know what those duties are. The second is she said, why will appear there? NBI is under the Department of Justice.
Mm.
Department of Justice is under the office of the president. You are biased. So the vice president does not believe in the institutions. The NBI is biased. The House of Representatives is biased. And now we wait in suspense. If now they will say that the Senate is biased, because remember, their petition to the Supreme Court included, and we don't know why, included the Senate President. So baka sabihin nila, when this case now goes to the Senate, they will say, wait a minute, we included you as respondent in our case in the Supreme Court. This is not ripe for the Senate to proceed on.
Okay, I think very quickly, we are running out of time. I'm curious if, let's say if they get the votes in the plenary and if she's impeached in the House, are you possibly going to be a part of the prosecution?
I've always said that I'm always a volunteer lawyer. I'm happy to serve. But now that you mention it, after they vote on the impeachment and the articles of impeachment, they will have to choose 11 public prosecutors.
Yeah, yeah.
And with the 11 public prosecutors, I assume they will also think of private
Ano ba ang rules? I'm curious. Pag sinabing public, pwedeng
public-
nakaupo yun, pwedeng nasa House.
The public prosecutors can only come from the House.
Oo, so 11 yun.
So
Tapos
11,
yung
unless
private,
yes. The private can be as many as are willing to volunteer.
I see. And you're willing.
I was willing in the last impeachment
Mm.
hearings last year. I'm willing now. I'm older and wiser and more
Mm.
willing.
And I can sense you're also calmer.
Oh, yes.
All right. Because I've known you for so many years.
No,
Right?
because
Okay.
kasi yung programa mo Karen, pang kalmado yan.
Okay.
You should see me in my intemperate language in other interviews. Pero
All right.
kagalang-galang ka Karen.
Okay. On that note, I want to thank you, Attorney Lorna Kapunan. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me and mabuhay tayong lahat.
All right.